Hello, I am Aaron Sutherland, and I am a SUSE certified instructor. In this video, I would like to show you the different learning paths we have available on our e-learning site. With more than a dozen learning paths available to meet your educational needs, we have topics such as HA, SAP, SUSE Manager, and more. To get started, we log into the e-learning site and navigate to the content library. Once on the content library page, you select the box for learning paths. The list on the right shows all the different learning paths that are currently available. We can narrow down the list by selecting one of the filters in the Topics section. Here, when I select the topic, we can see the number of learning paths available for the topic. Let's take a look at each of the topics to see what the contents of each learning path look like. Here, I click on the topic SLES. This shows me that there are 5 learning paths available for SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. When I click on the title of the learning path, SLE 200 transitioning to SLE 15, this shows me a list of all the modules in the learning path. And here we have modules such as installation changes, infrastructure changes, core changes, changes for developers, additional changes, upgrade paths and methods, and our course manuals and documentation at the bottom of the page. So we'll scroll up and we'll start one of the videos.
Let's look at the installation changes that have been implemented in our SUSE Linux Enterprise 15 release. There are, as you can see, 3 different things that we want to cover here. We want to talk about the unified installer and how that's a little bit different.
That is just a small sample of the content that you can expect to see in this learning path. Now let's go back and take a look at another learning path. Go back to our content library, select SLES, and then we'll move on to our next learning path. Our next learning path is the SLE 201 SUSE Linux Enterprise Server Administration 15 learning path. When I click on the title, again we're taken to a list of all the modules that are included in that learning path. So we have an overview of SUSE Linux Enterprise, the Linux file system, working with the command line, the Vim editor, remote administration, system initialization, process management, identity and security, software management, network management, storage administration, administration and monitoring, and then our course materials down at the bottom of the page. Now we'll start a video.
In this topic, we'll introduce you to ButterFS, called the Better file system. So let's have a look at the features of it. So we've got built-in volume management with something called subvolumes. We've got built-in copy on write. It's got a snapshotting capability built in as well. It's highly scalable. We always need more disk space rather than less disk space. So up to about 18 exabytes there. And it has some other capabilities.
Again, that is just a small sample of the type of content you can expect from this learning path. We'll navigate back to our content library page, and we will continue looking at the learning paths by next moving on to the SLE 211 SUSE Linux Enterprise Server 15 deployment. When I click on the title of the learning path, once again it shows me all the different modules that are available. And in this one we have automated installation with AutoYast, image-based deployment with Kiwi, cloud deployment, and our course materials at the bottom. We'll start a video here.
When we are building images with Kiwi, we have to, again, just kind of review how we get to the point where we build the image. Now, as we've stated previously, it's a two-step process. So we have the preparation stage, generating an unpacked image tree. In other words, an installation of an entire operating system put within a particular file. It's kind of like a chrooted environment, but we're doing it inside of a single image tree, a single location.
Just a small sample of the types of content you can see in this learning path. From here, we're going to navigate back to our content library. And we'll take a look at our next learning path in the SLES topic. Our next learning path to look at is the SUSE Linux Enterprise High Availability Operations for SLES 15. Again, I click on the title of the learning path, and this will show me all the different sections or topics that are covered. We have the overview of the SUSE Linux Enterprise High Availability Extension, the HA Cluster Administration Tools, Cluster Resource Management, HA Cluster Access Control Lists, Cluster Health Checks, Monitoring and Troubleshooting, Cluster Backup and Recovery, updating and patching the HA cluster and cluster resources, and then at the bottom we have our reference documents. So we'll find one of the videos here and we'll start it.
Use access control lists. So as an overview of access control lists, or ACLs, access control lists enable the delegation of cluster privileges to non-privileged users. So as a reminder, in Hawk and CRM, all actions may be carried out by default by members who are by either the root user or members of the HA client group.
So once again, that is just a small portion of the content that is available in this learning path. We'll navigate back to our content library. We'll go to our learning paths, and we'll investigate our next learning path under SLES. Our final learning path under the SLES topic is the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server 15 Advanced Administration Learning Path. Again, we click on the title of the learning path, and we're presented with a list of modules, starting with Advanced System Administration, Encryption, Shell Scripting, Hardware, Advanced Networking, Advanced Storage Administration, Centralized Authentication, Advanced Software Management, Configuration and Management with SALT, and then our course materials.
How do we sign our RPMs? One of the key components of RPMs is making sure that they come from a trusted source. As with any operating system, we want to make sure that the code we use comes from a reputable location. We're not just grabbing them from any site. Now, GPG keys are managed just like packages in RPM. After the import, the keys are treated like packages, and you can query against GPGs and list all of them out.
There is just a small portion of the content that is shown here in the learning path. So we navigate back to our learning paths under SLES, and that is all 5 of our learning paths. I do hope that you've enjoyed the video. Please feel free to let me know should you have any questions, and have a great day.